Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beauty School Bobbi podcast. This is the official first episode of 2026, and I could not have picked a better guest to start the year off. I know that we're all setting goals. We need that extra little push. We need some motivation. We need to hear from people that are inspiring us. And Jalia is that person. I feel like I just ended the interview with her, and I feel like I could go run 2 miles. She is seriously so incredible. Her energy is so great. What I loved most about our conversation was hearing her story of how she started in corporate America, came into the beauty industry, trusted her gut, followed her passion, and has built such an incredible career. She's teased some things that I know she's going to be announcing soon. And I just know that Jalia is somebody that we need to watch. She's already accomplished so much, but I really think that this is going to be the year that we hear a lot more about her. When I think about role models in the beauty industry, because of my relationships with the students at the school, and my role at the school, I am always looking for people that I can say, follow her, she's good, or follow this person because they are good, they're professional, they check all of these boxes. And Jalia just goes so above and beyond in so many ways. And I just think that whether you are somebody that's new in the industry, whether you're listening and you're like, I actually think I might want to come into the beauty industry. I know that this episode is for you. She is so genuine. Her conversation with me was so honest and open about what she's accomplished and what she wants to do next and what she wants to share. And so I think that, again, I just could not have picked a better person to start our year off with. And I'm so excited that I had the opportunity to talk with her today. And I'm feeling so inspired from what we talked about and what she shared with me today. So I think that you're going to love this episode. I hope that you do. Make sure that you are following along with us. So at the end of this episode, make sure that you subscribe, you comment, you rate, review, do all the things. Just make sure that you are following Julia also, because again, I think she's going to be somebody to watch this year. And again, somebody that's just inspirational. So I hope you love this episode as much as I did. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Beauty School Bobbi podcast. Today I'm here with Jalia Pettis. Jalia, thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm so excited to talk to you. I want to tell you that you are somebody that I don't even want to say like on the rise. I don't know what the word is for like just really being noticed. We've crossed paths a few times, but your name has come up to us specifically like a few times, just even like since we met. And so I'm just so excited to talk to you about your path and your journey. But what brought us here today is you were just named in the 2025 top 100 of modern salon. So huge deal. And we're here to talk about that today. So you are a hair and makeup artist. You travel, but where are you located? Where do you live?
I am based in, well, first, before I jump right into that, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. But I'm based in Phoenix, Arizona. So today the weather is amazing. I have my windows open. I'm getting some fresh air, but like, don't ask me that come June. Like, I'm going to be
Yes.
miserable. So, yes,
So you're
Phoenix,
like
Arizona.
happy to travel during those months. You're like, I'm ready to get out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was actually in Miami last week and,
Oh, amazing.
I thought December, even though it's Florida, it'll still be nice outside. That humidity was insane. So I was like, oh my gosh, yes, please, it's time to go back home.
Well, you kind of have the job that a lot of people want in the industry. I think a lot of people that come into the beauty industry want to do what you're doing with travel, doing hair and makeup. It's really a dream. Is this always what you wanted to do, like even since you were little? Are you living the life that you thought you were going to live, or how did all of this happen?
Oh my gosh. Yes and no. And it's crazy because the beauty industry is a second career for me.
Okay.
Before entering the beauty industry, I worked in corporate America, specifically in human resources with an emphasis in marketing and development. So I did that for over 20 years. And at the time, I was at a crossroads and I was like, you know what? I think it's time for a shift to happen. And I started my own business, which is called 3J Productions, which I still run to this day. And at the time, I was managing other talent. So whether they were models or artists, those individuals that were creatives, but they just couldn't, do what they needed to get their names out there, most of which were Black men and women. And as a Black woman, even though I'm fairer skinned, I didn't have the same issues as some of the other individuals in my community. So their complaint was, I can't find anybody to do my hair or makeup. And that's how I entered the beauty industry. I was like, oh, don't worry, I'll figure it out. And I figured it out and I did it wrong for a very long time. I was gluing eyes shut. I was just doing it all kinds of wrong. But I got to a point where I had a friend kind of put a little bug in my ear about, you know what, if this is really something that you are going to take seriously, I think you should do X, Y, and Z. And with that, I quit my full-time corporate job without a plan other than to move across the country with 3 kids in tow. And that's what brought me to Arizona. And it was a test, but I knew it was something. It was a test, but it was a faith walk because I knew it was something that I needed to do if I really wanted to see myself in as to what I saw in my mind. And I'm so grateful that I did. I'm thankful that, having that corporate background gave me the business acumen that I needed. But now I've been in the beauty industry 18 years, and it's crazy to say that out loud. And saying it out loud,
What's
it's like,
crazy about that is I thought you were like 12 years old. What's insane about that, like, that's the great when you said you worked in human resources for 20, I'm like, what? Like, what in the world? Like, you
yeah,
look 12 and it must be the
thank
facial. Like,
you.
you have the secrets. Well, I want to talk to you because this is actually something. It's funny that I don't know, this always happens on this show where something will come up in my life. And then for some reason, the guest that I've already had scheduled is like, oh, this is someone that is great to talk to about this. Because one of the things that I think is really interesting is you having that professional background. You were, like you said, in corporate America and human resources. So you're dealing with people, you're dealing with rules and all of like, you're kind of, making sure people are following the rules and everyone's staying good and all of those things. You have that background. But I was just having a conversation with somebody about how with certain people, like there is a different, and I think that you're one of these people for sure, but there's a different idea that the beauty industry can be elevated, can be more professional. Things that happen in other industries that don't happen normally in the beauty industry, like
Yeah,
we are like, wait, why? Retirement, 401k, like all of
right.
those things, right? Like it should exist here for us. It's weird that it doesn't. So talk to me about what that was for you. How did you end up in human resources? What was it about you that you were like, okay, this is the path that I'm going to go. That's a hard role to
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
But I want to talk to you about kind of how that happened and then what that has done for you and what you think you can kind of give credit to in your career now of success in the beauty industry based on what you learned in that industry.
Yeah. I feel like I've always had the entrepreneurial nudge. Like I
Mhm.
got that from my mother, in seeing the things that she did. And, I remember when I was younger, me and my sister used to work for her. Like she had a cleaning business and that was like how we made our money. So like there's certain things that were just innately a part of me. And I feel like when I entered human resources, excuse me, my goal was to, oh, I want to be the VP of a company. Like that's what I was telling myself. Oh, if I can be a
Okay.
VP of a company, that would be like super dope. And as I was doing that, I started running into so many stumbling blocks. One, as somebody at the time who was really young, and then two, as a woman, and then three, as a Black woman. It was like, dude, you know what? Forget all of y'all. I'm just gonna let you just pour into me, give me all of these skills, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
start my own thing because y'all
Mhm.
don't know how to treat people. And that's
Mhm.
really what kind of made everything else take off with not only my business, but also entering the beauty industry. Like, I remember being in environments in corporate America, and I'm like, dude, this is nuts. Like, they would call me at the time, I only had two kids, but I remember when they called me, there were some grown men that had gotten to a fight at work. And they were like, oh, we're going to call Jalia to break it up. Why are we calling Julia to break up? You know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
it was certain things. I remember another job that I had where there was a single parent. I'm a single parent as well. There was a single woman that was struggling. She was really struggling with some addiction issues. And I remember just like having conversations with her, just to try to encourage her. Like when I would be in my alone time, I would, pray for her or whatever. And I'll never forget when the CEO of the company came into my office and told me, like I might have been a kid, you're going to fire her. And I'll never forget what that felt like. And
Mhm.
shortly after, I found out she had committed suicide. So it's like, I can't be in these types of spaces where people just don't have any care for anybody. So if I become an entrepreneur, this is what I'm going to do for the people that work for me. This is how I'm going to treat people. This is how I'm going to talk to people. And I feel like all of that really not only helped me for my business, but then also helped me with what I'm willing to accept and what I'm not willing to accept as a beauty professional. Because a lot of times people don't take the beauty industry seriously.
Mhm.
Not until they started seeing influencers did they think, oh, that's fun. I can do that. So I feel like all of that really poured into who I am and how I move present day.
Now, where did you grow up? Where are you from?
So I was a military brat. So I
Okay.
traveled all over, which is why I love getting on a plane. But I'm originally from Michigan.
Okay. Now, when you were growing up and your mom had her business, like, was it attractive to you to be like, well, this is hers and she is able to, make the rules, make that like it's cool that she has her own thing. But you said even like when you dreamed of something, what was it that made you be like, in the beginning at least, to go work for? And again, we all know that like our path is all set and all of the experiences you had in corporate America
Mhm.
obviously like that needed to happen for this to happen, this happened. But what was it that made you kind of say, like, you said, I want to be the vice president of a company? You weren't like, I want to own the company. I want this to be
Right.
mine. Was there something scary about it being your own
Yeah,
thing? Or what do you think that was?
absolutely. There were definitely things that were scary because I know how much opposition my mother had as an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
I remember she had a full-time job and she had her business. She was working
Mhm.
them both. And, I did that too for quite some time. And I just remember how much she would always pour into that. Like, I was a latchkey kid for sure. And it's
Mhm.
crazy because that's how my kids ended up growing up. I did the exact same thing, but at the moment I wasn't thinking about entrepreneurship. Like, it didn't feel like it was as attainable because I'm like,
Mhm.
if it was, why was my mom still working two jobs? Like, why does she
Right.
still have the business and the full-time job? So, I thought about that. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to go to college and get these degrees. Like, do I need to do that? And I mean, I did go to college, but then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore either. So
Mhm.
I think for me, there was a little bit of fear that was attached to that. So when I did full force make that decision myself, everybody thought I was crazy. They were
Mhm.
like, how are you moving from South Carolina to Arizona? You don't have a job. You have three kids that you have to provide for. Like, and thankfully, I moved to an area where my mother was. So I knew I had some support there. Like, I stayed with her
Mhm.
for a couple of months until I was able to kind of, get on my feet. But before I moved out here, I was already reaching out to people. I was already introducing myself. I was already kind of letting them know who I am. And it's crazy because some of those individuals that see me now, they're like, I remember you when you reached out to me and look at you now. And I'm like, yeah, because you
Mhm.
didn't even want to have anything to do with me. I ain't forgot.
Y Yeah, you're like, "Oh, no, I remember. I remember too." I love that. Well, I do think that there is what I'm learning, I think just through age is like there is a safety net of, and I don't necessarily think that it's a negative thing. Like I said, I think all of our experiences that bring this in, like you bringing very professional, if, side to the industry, I feel like we need so much more of that. And so I think your experience is great, and it's not like a wasted experience. I tell that to the students all the time. Like, if you've gone to college or if you've done something else, it's not negative. But I do think that there is this fear in us that I don't know if if it's female, if it's just not supported as much, or we don't see as much of it. I think, especially at the time that if you would have done this right out of, like, definitely didn't have a million examples of, successful women to say, oh, they didn't do the college route, they didn't, because there's stability in a company, or at least that's what
Yeah.
you feel. I think for
Yeah.
me, I'm like, oh, there's less stability because then they can decide to do whatever they want. I want it to be mine. I want, to be in charge. Like, we have those, personalities, I think, of being like, well, I want to be able to make the decisions that I believe,
Mhm.
or I don't want somebody else to tell me I have to fire somebody. And then that is now my job. And that's something I have to do. I just think that those examples maybe weren't there as much. And like I said, it is terrifying to be like, I'm just going to go start my own thing. But
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting that you ended up in this anyways, of having your own thing, and having, your mom as that example before too. But I love sharing, and so thankful that you shared, your story of all of the different things, because I think there's probably a bunch of people, that are even listening right now that are like, oh, she's on the modern salon top, like that, this was just her path, and she just has, just always done this and went to beauty school and then did this, this, and this. And I think it's so important to hear that there isn't just one path. There's not
Mhm.
only one option to this.
Yeah. There are so many options. And when I entered beauty school the first time, because I've gone twice, I went the
Okay.
first time and I got my aesthetics license, and then I went back and then got my hairstyling license. But I remember being the oldest student in my classroom, probably
Mhm.
in the school in general. Like, I remember that. I remember what that felt like. I was already working in makeup artistry. So, in order to kind of go the next step, I needed to have my aesthetics license. And then, you know, being a makeup artist and having my aesthetics license, I would get booked and they would always want to combo me. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to do hair, but they would always want to combo me as a hair and a makeup artist. So I'm like, you know what? Going back to school again. I had already known how to do hair. Like, I have tons of people in my family that love the beauty industry, maybe not have, they were more kitchen beauticians, is what we'll say.
Mhm.
But, that's also something my mother did. She did go to cosmetology school. She never tested and got her license. Even my sister went to cosmetology school and never tested and got their license. I had no desire to enter the beauty industry when I entered, like, at all. Like, I used to have super, super long hair and I was afraid of the round brush. And I remember what that felt like, getting stuck in my hair. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to do that for anybody else. So, to now see me, even my mom says it to me. She's like, girl, I cannot believe that you are in the beauty industry, because I'm so plain Jane. I don't want to wear a full face of makeup. I don't want to have my hair done all the time. Like, this is what it's going to be. She used to call me Marge Simpson because I would always wear a high bun. Like, all of those things are still a part of me. But, like, as somebody that's, I'm a Gen Xer. Like, I
Mhm.
didn't enter the industry straight out of high school. I did a ton of things before. So whoever might be watching, I hope that that's some encouragement, is like, yes, you get to change your careers. Yes, you get to change your mind. You can be single. You can be a woman of color. You can have kids. You can be married. Like, you can be older, younger. It really doesn't matter. Like, if this is something that you want to pursue full out, you can. My graduating class from aesthetics, none of them are in the industry anymore. Like, zero.
Wow.
On the hair side, maybe two. So it's like, what is your drive? What is your push?
Mhm.
What is your why? And I
Yeah.
think that's really important to understand.
It is, and following your gut is something that you just get better at as you get older, and being like, "I know this is right for me, and I don't know why I'm being pulled in this way, but I know that I need to follow that." I think that's something that men probably learn earlier than we do, or have that feeling earlier than we
Mhm.
do, and I think, obviously, with kids and all of that stuff, I think we're doing a little bit better of encouraging that, but, it is something that sometimes it takes a minute to figure out, but I think I've seen so many students that are not 18 years old that come into this. And I'm like, typically they do a lot better because they've lived in the world. They're not so worried about, the rules or getting upset at whatever dumb thing that sometimes people get upset about, the distractions,
Right,
right? You don't have time for distractions. Like most of the
right.
time, they're moms, they're juggling, they're this, they're that. Like there's so many other things that they're
Mhm.
doing. And I don't know, we've said sometimes we're like, man, maybe it is better when you do it a little bit later, like you
Yeah.
have a different experience. So, one of the things that we were talking about that I wanted to make sure that we didn't miss is you said that you've been really pushing like entering contests, getting your name out there. You obviously, like I said, just got named in the top 100. So, talk to me about what started you into feeling like that was a part of the industry that you were ready to pursue and really wanted to start doing.
I think it happened after I won Beacon. I remember in 2015, I won Beacon. And when I went to Beacon, I want to say it was in California. No, it was in Las Vegas. Um, I remember being in this room where it was majority cause, there was a few aesthetics sprinkled in, but I remember being in that room for like 2.5 days and all of the different people that I was coming in contact with. And I still have my notes to this day. Like I remember Gino being on stage and encouraging everybody. I remember seeing particular people on that stage. And I told myself, sitting in that classroom right then, one day I'm going to be up on that stage. And I made a point to make that happen. And there was a lot of opposition along the way. But I remember Stephen Gomez, he was one of the speakers. He, at the end of like one of the days, he came up to me and he was like, "Okay, so you ready for me to introduce you to everybody?" And I was like, "Yeah." And there were people around me and they were like, "He's going to go introduce you to everybody. Aren't you scared?" I was like, "Bye. I'm ready. Let's go." Like, I don't have time for doubters. Like, let's make it happen. And he literally
Yeah.
drugged me around the room and introduced me to everybody in the room. I can't even remember who was in the room, but it was just the fact that he did that.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's crazy because in 2024, Stephen and I were both nominated for NAHA Educator of the Year. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. I remember when you were taking me around the room as a beacon, but I think a lot of that has to do with my drive. It does, in some instances, have to do with my age. But I just got to a point where I was like, you know what? There can't be any fear. So when I enter any type of competition, it's not to get, the recognition, and it's not about other individuals. For me, it's about competing against myself and how
Mhm.
can I become better at whatever it is I'm doing. So 2017 was the first year that I entered NAHA. And as a first time entrant, I became a finalist. I was a finalist for Makeup Artist of the Year 2017. And, although every year I entered after that, nobody knew that I entered, because what I was doing with that work was making sure that I was sending it to publications and I would still get the work recognized. So I moved with a little bit of stealthness, but like, um, 2020, 2021, I entered the International Beauty Awards. I won that year. And that was, coming out of COVID. 2022, I won for NAHA Makeup Artist of the Year. Um, and then, it's just been something else since then. 2023, I won Denman Stage Star and represented the United States in London and got to compete on a global stage. And I should have won the global. I really should have, because my work was super dope, but that's okay. I was like, I'm in my 40s and I just won a competition and I'm representing the US. I felt like I was going to the Olympics of hair. That was amazing.
Yeah.
2024, for NAHA Educator of the Year. And then 2025, NAHA, again, I had another finalist nomination again for NAHA, and then Live Fashion Hair Awards Educator of the Year. And then this is the newest bunch right back here. I don't know if you can see it, but I won the Snap Awards in the UK for texture category. So it's not just hair, it's not just makeup, it's me being an educator, it's me showing up, it's me pushing myself to be better every single time I do something. And yes, I am going to take a break next year and not enter anything.
When I get really excited, I like physically want to jump around and I want to be like holding your hand and just spin you around a room right now. That is incredible. Like, what in the world? Like, that
Yeah,
is
it's
just to
crazy.
have what some people would consider like, or somebody listening that's like, I can't go back to beauty school. I've been in this industry. I can't switch, can't move. To be like you can, and not only can you, but you can come in and you can be at the top. Like if you work hard, like you can do this. There, time isn't running out. Like you have time to do this. Like I just love this idea that it again isn't somebody that had a 20, because sometimes what you hear is like, oh, you go to beauty school young, you work in a salon, and then they're like, my body's tired. I got to get out from it. And then that's when they start. No, like start now. And I
Yeah,
love your examples of how quickly, again, you have talent and you're amazing and all that. There are other things that go into this. So it is definitely not
right,
like
right.
just for anybody. But I think it's so amazing that you can share, like, look, I did it. Like, look at my path, and it just doesn't look like everyone else's path. And I'm so thankful to share that and just so excited for you.
Yeah,
Like,
thank you.
incredible.
And it doesn't look like everybody else's, and it shouldn't. Like when
Mhm.
we start comparing ourselves, that's when we get into that pit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If I'm constantly comparing myself, then how am I figuring out who I'm really supposed to be?
Yes.
And I'm too old for that, one. But like I have kids that are watching me. Like I have, two boys that are in their 20s. I have a daughter that is graduating from high school in May. So, like they're watching me. They're watching
Mhm.
what I do. They're watching how I respond. And thankfully, they're also intertwined with a lot of the things that I do. So I'm putting things in them. I'm hoping anyway that I'm dropping seeds in them that they'll be able to be like, okay, well, if mom was able to do this, then I should be able to do this times three. Like,
Yeah.
please exceed what I'm doing. That's the goal for them. So, that's my drive, that's my motivation, but it's not, you know, for people. And
Mhm.
it's crazy because like if I really was caught up in people, I would have stopped a long time ago because I don't have a huge social media following. I've been stuck at the same numbers probably for a good 5 years.
Mhm.
But and that's okay because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. When you come on my social media, sometimes you might get, a behind the scenes view. Sometimes you might get me being my goofy self. Sometimes you might get me saying a prayer, and that's not everybody's thing, and that's okay. But like,
Mhm.
I think it's important that you have to carve out space that feels most authentic to you.
Mhm. Yes, I love that, and I think social media is an amazing tool. It's not the only tool, and, like,
Mhm.
that is so like, again, love that you're sharing that because I think so many people put so much focus and energy on that, and can it be a resource for brands and for job? Yeah, it can. It
Yeah,
probably gets you in the door a little faster, but it's just not it's not the only thing that matters.
right.
It can't be the only thing that you're focused on. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hey, beauty students and educators. I'm excited to share that Beauty School Bobby is now supported by BeautyCast Network, your go to career services and placement platform for the beauty industry. Free to schools, educators, and students, BeautyCast Network connects you with top artists, influencers, and educators who inspire and empower the next generation of pros. From webinars and newsletters to virtual career showcases, competitions, and scholarship pop ups, the platform is packed with tools to build non technical skills, encourage career readiness, and help students launch amazing careers as they approach their graduation date. Learn more at beautycastnetwork.com to help your students thrive and take their career to the next level. Now back to the episode. I love that you were at Beacon. I love that you won that. I'm encouraging our students so much. And I feel like if in beauty school, I think I would have applied for every opportunity. I mean, that's what I'm doing. Like I'm literally like trying to get as many opportunities for them. We have an instructor at the school who one of her roles is that she is over competitions. Like that's how much we feel like it's important to show them.
Mhm.
When I tell you that for Beacon this year, which is the first year that we were really exposed to it, met Leslie, got to really connect with her and all of that stuff, finding out more about what it is, I'm like, oh my goodness, like our students need to be part of this. And when I tell you maybe three have applied out of, I mean, we have 300 students. I think 3 have officially submitted, but I think if I were one of those 3, I would be excited. Like, I just think they're so scared to put themselves out there, and like you said, like, people telling you, like, "You're gonna get up on that stage, you're gonna" like, we have to quiet this noise somehow, and we have to but again, they grew up in a time where we did not with social media and with so much noise. I feel
Mhm.
like that's part of it. And not that when you are applying or when you're submitting your work, you're not nervous, but at least like you're going to do it anyways. Nervous or not, you're going to do it. And I think that's what I want to encourage more students to do is like if you lose, you don't get picked. You don't that's not a failure. That's
Yeah.
not a like now I'm going to have to tell people that I didn't get it. Do it quietly. Submit your stuff quietly. You don't have to tell everybody every single thing you're doing. And
Yeah.
I feel like they're really missing that right now.
Yeah, they are. Everything is announcement. Everything is an
Mhm.
announcement because of social media. Like you said, it's a different generation. I know I believe in moving in silence. Like I'll announce when I feel comfortable, when I feel ready, but like everything doesn't have to be an announcement. And there is a little bit of a stigma attached. I remember the first time I started speaking at Beacon was in 2018, and I faced some opposition then. I remember being told that I wouldn't be received well. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have no idea how much you have just lighted a fire under me.
Yeah.
and it's crazy because I've been speaking at Beacon now every year since 2018. So much for not being received well. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's you have to quiet that noise. Like we should be detoxing from social media. We should be
Mhm.
detoxing from people sometimes, not like actual in person as well.
Yeah.
It's important to not feel like you have to announce everything. I know for me, I love to journal. You can see some of my journals behind me. I write a lot of things down, almost everything, and everything has a purpose. Like you have to find another outlet versus feeling like you have to share or overshare. Um, because some of the closest people to you sometimes will minimize what it is that you're doing. I remember that vividly. It's like, how's that little job going? How's that
Mhm.
little business? Like, why does it have to have little in front of it? Nothing that I do is little.
Mhm.
Everything that I do is big. Everything that I do is major because I serve a big God. So what we're not
Mhm.
going to do is put little in front of it and minimize anything that I'm doing. So, correcting people when they make those verbal announcements like, no, I'm snatching that out the atmosphere. You don't get to speak negatively about anything that I'm dreaming to be amazing. So, people are so quick to get on social media and kind of just be internet gangsters, but like sometimes you have to really kind of speak up for yourself and say, no, this is how I see myself, and if that doesn't fit you, guess what? You don't have to be here, and that's
Yeah.
okay. So, those three, I wish them the best. I wish more people would kind of just get out of their own way where that's concerned, but it is going to be some. Unfortunately, we're going to have to do a little bit more because they don't see um the big names attached to it. You know what I mean? The big names as far as
Mhm.
like the people with those large social media followings. Because if you really take the time and look at some of the shows now, I'm noticing a lot of them that they're selecting to be educators, they're selecting based on their influencer status. Like how many people do they have following? and
Mhm.
it's not the meat and potatoes of what it is that they're educating on. So, just be mindful. Just be mindful of the fruit of the individual that you're kind of looking at. But I wish those three that submitted the absolute best, because you never know what could come out on the other side of it. For me, it was a game changer.
Yeah, and I think that again, what we know is that it's so valuable of who you at the shows. I'm so happy you brought that up because it's something that we, definitely watch and we're talking about and we're seeing something in the industry. Mark and I, my husband and I talk about this a lot, like that we're watching it. Like we're seeing what is the trajectory of this because there was, let's say fame, the big names on the stages before look a little different now, but we also went through COVID. We also saw a huge like burst of the beauty industry,
Mhm.
where just enrollment at schools had never been higher, like money made in the industry never. I mean, it's a multi-billion dollar, like look at what the beauty brands are making, right? So it's fun for me just because I'm such like a like I love seeing how things happen and watching the trajectory of things of how this plays out. But I think that that is that is something that I think we all have our opinions on of what it looks like. But what I encourage the students to do all the time is to go to the shows. And
Mhm.
I believe that like there's so many moments that I could point out and I'm like, our paths crossed for a reason, met this person, met that person, opened this door, led to that, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, talk to
Yeah.
everybody that is there. Not just don't wait in line for hours and miss the opportunity to talk to somebody that has something to share that is for you.
Yeah. And
Like
then
it
don't
doesn't
feel
have
like you
to be
have
on
to
the
bring
stage.
somebody either. You can go by
Yeah.
yourself,
Yes,
you know?
exactly. Yes, and going and doing your own thing and being like, people that we'll run into to interview, like at America's Beauty Show or whatever, I'm like, we were just supposed to meet that. Like, I know there's a reason that I clocked that person, and I'm like, I want to talk to them, and every time we're like, oh my gosh, we just love them, and they had such a great message to share, and all of that. And I just really believe that if you open yourself up to it, if you go into that show and you say, please put whoever in front of me that I'm supposed to meet. Like, give me whatever message I need to hear right now. It will come to you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So I think that just helping to encourage that confidence is something that we need to really work on. And I think
Mhm.
at schools definitely, have a responsibility to help encourage that more. But I think we're also as schools navigating a new student and new issues and different things, as
Yeah.
your kids are that age. And so I know you've dealt with all of these things too, but I think just trying to figure it out and trying to encourage those good things, which again, highlighting people like you that can really share an honest story, to help just help one person. If one person hears this and is like, I'm going to apply for Beacon now, like that's amazing. And
Yeah.
that's the light that we want to, keep shining and kind of keep showing. I want to talk about your career as it looks as an everyday right now. I know that you've done a lot of different things, but when you tell people, hey, this is if you're introducing yourself or talk, if somebody says, what do you do? What do
Mhm.
you tell them like in this moment?
Oh, I love that. So normally when somebody asks me what I do in the industry, I'll tell them that I am a session stylist. And basically what that means is I work primarily on set, whether that's for editorial, commercial, film, or television, doing both hair and or makeup. And that has opened the door for me to be a multidisciplinary creative. So I get to also wear the hat of creative director and producer and bring other people in on projects. So for me, no one day is the same, but that's how I crafted my career to be. And I'm very thankful for that.
So what is it that draws you to the sets? Like what do you love about being on set? What do you love about like the more commercial work? Obviously it's different than being in a salon or in a spa
Mhm.
setting. What is it that draws you to that?
It is truly that no one day is the same. It
Mhm.
100% is that no one day is the same. Like I remember what it felt like to have to be at work at a certain time and have to troubleshoot all day and then be in front of my computer and then do payroll and then go, do a write up and then clock out and go home and then my phone is still ringing because I'm dealing with an issue. Like that became unfun very fast. Even though I
Mhm.
did it for such a long time. I, moved up through the ranks when I was in corporate America. Like I started at a journalist level and I left as a director. So, I understand what leadership looks like in a lot of different forms. And for me, being a session stylist, I get to wear a different hat every day, and I love that. Like I just mentioned, I was in Miami last week. I was doing both hair and makeup for a project, and I was able to bring in two assistants. And I brought in one assistant that was stronger on hair, and then I brought one that was stronger on makeup. And I brought them like tons of goodies. I allowed them to work out of my kit. I prepped them ahead of time so they know what we were going to be doing. They had an idea of like the models and the looks. And then once we were done, we had a debrief. Let me tell you what you can do better next time you are in this type of environment. And I think that's important, is just don't let somebody leave and don't give them any nuggets. Like, it's great in the moment to tell people that they're doing amazing, but like you also have to pick the time and a place to tell them here's some things that you could be working on. And I feel like I didn't get that. You know what I mean? I definitely didn't get that. So again, having that business acumen, and also being somebody that was very strong in training and development, gone through the train the trainer program on both the business side as well as the salon side, like I know how I want to be talked to. I know how I want people to communicate with me. So just kind of taking that into that type of role. And I mentioned my kids. So my oldest son is a wardrobe stylist. My daughter is an agency represented model, getting ready to move to New York and become the next Naomi. So just be looking out for her. But like I'll bring them in on projects when I can, or I'll refer them in different instances. So I'm very thankful for that. And when I took that leap to leave corporate America, I knew that I wanted to do something that was different than what most people would assume a beauty professional would look like. So I was very clear that I want to be the individual that when I open up a magazine, who worked on this to make this happen? Like, what did
Mhm.
they do? And I'm able to do that. And I'm super thankful for that.
What tips can you share on how to show up for a shoot like this? What are like 3 things that you would give advice to somebody that wants to show up, that's doing this and is maybe new in it? What are the most important things of how to show up as a beauty professional?
First and foremost, make sure that you have the things that you need to do the job. But don't bring the kitchen sink. I did that very early on. I'm like, dude, why is my back hurting? Because I literally brought everything. So just showing up to do the job, bring the things that you feel like you're going to need to do the job. If you are assisting someone else, really finding out what that lead or that key is doing is super important. um and two, kind of, for one, definitely have to stay on top of your sanitation. Like some of the jobs that I've been booked because people heard about my sanitary practices. Not that I was
Wow.
the best hair or makeup artist, but they were like, we heard that she does not play. Like she keeps everything very clean. And I'm thankful to have that kind of reputation, like,
Best
because
thing
there's
you
a
could
lot of
ever
things.
say about me.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, yes, I love that. So, just making sure that you're doing those types of things, because people do notice, like, are you double dipping? Are you using disposables? Are you cleaning your brushes with barbicide? Like, people are paying attention to that, just like they're paying attention to your conversation. Like, who are you communicating with when you're on set?
Mhm.
Don't be all up in everybody's face trying to have a conversation, trying to give them your business card, telling them you want to get booked for the next gig, because like that is very off-putting. But also being on your phone is very off-putting. In a lot of instances, they don't even allow us to be on our phones or have our phones out, because it's considered what a closed set. So you can't take photos and post it online and that kind of stuff. So a lot of times I will hold on to something for like months and months and months, and then I'll post it and it's like, dude, yeah, this was almost a year ago, but you're just
Yeah.
now seeing it. So I think all of those things will help you in kind of figuring out okay, is this something that I really want to do? But first and foremost, if it's not an environment that you've ever worked in before, be open to assisting. Um,
Mhm.
because when I first entered the beauty industry, the first thing that I did was work in runway. And that is a very fast paced environment. And that's
Yeah.
not for everybody. So if you're taking an hour to do hair, if you're taking an hour and a half to do makeup, that's not going to work in that environment. But do all of the different things so that you can see what you like and what you don't like. I feel like that's important. Know what you don't like. That way you can kind of focus on what you actually really do love.
That's where that mentorship comes in so much. And I love that you mentioned the communication because I was going to ask you, who is it that, you talk to on set? Who's your contact? All of those things, and how do you show up for them? And in what way is an appropriate way to communicate and all of that. So I'm so thankful that you hit that part because I think that's an easy piece. But yeah, that's why mentorship matters because anybody going into a situation for the first time should be a little bit like, I don't know what to do. It's like when you're new at a school, like someone needs to show you around. Somebody needs to show you how to communicate and where you're going to overstep or under. I get really uncomfortable with people that are too comfortable, like in
Mhm.
situations where it's like, wait, you'll see somebody kind of like overstep or over and you want to like, oh wait, don't do that. I know that you don't mean it. It might not even be bad intention. You just
Yeah.
don't know how everything operates yet. So I think that advice of going in and being associate, like go in not at the top right away. And that's not like a don't shoot for the stars kind of message,
Right.
but it's just so you can learn under somebody else and make sure that you're operating in the best way so you can move forward faster.
Mhm.
Um, I want to talk about future with you. So when
Okay.
think about, the next chapter of your career, what's the dream for you now that you've had so many different opportunities, you've achieved so much, you're working with, you've got an amazing network of people. So what's your goal? I know working with your kids, like that's going to be so exciting and so fun. I think that that's great, but where do you see yourself as like a role in the beauty industry?
Honestly, I feel like I'm shifting into that right now.
Okay.
Um, and I say it somberly because it's something that I feel like the nudge has been kind of happening for a few months now. So there are some changes that I am making within my business that I have not decided to announce publicly until January, which is only 2 weeks away. But so yeah, there are some things that I am kind of shifting focus on. I'm still going to do all of the things that I'm doing, but I
Mhm.
am creating space for other individuals to do that with me, is probably the
Awesome.
best way to say
Okay,
it.
cool. Well, I'm so excited and I cannot wait to hear, but I kind of feel that, like I don't know why, but I felt that with you that like there's just something I don't want to say bigger because that's not the right word. It's just something different. It's a different
Mhm.
role because I'm just even in my time of, in Chicago getting here, I wanted to talk to you more. Now I want, I still am like I just feel like you are a person that the beauty industry can really benefit from. And I'm excited to see there's a lot of roles, a lot of places that need somebody like you in them. And so I hope that I am so excited to hear, what that is for you. And I think that it's just, like you said, it's so exciting that you can do and accomplish so many different things with your license, with what you're doing, with all of the things that you've already achieved. It's really, really amazing and so encouraging.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm very excited. I feel like, I'm getting to a place in my life in general where um why not is kind of my thought process. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Like I
Mhm.
watch all of these different documentaries sometimes and I'm like, dude, I'm not doing enough. What is happening? So, I am still going to be doing everything that I'm doing, and it is going to be bigger and it is going to be better, but it's going to be on a broader scale.
Mhm.
And I'm super excited. And I remember somebody said something to me earlier this year. They're like, dude, your name is just popping up everywhere. I'm like, bruh, That's how I need it. I need to be on the tip of everybody's tongue. Like, don't forget about me, because there is a different hat that I can wear every single time. So, yes, I'm very excited for all that's to come, not just in 2026, but beyond. And I'm happy that we had an opportunity to chat. I'm sure after we get off of this, there will be more conversations that will happen. I just feel very strongly about that. But, like,
Yeah.
it's always nice to be surrounded by like minded individuals, people that
Mhm.
operate from a place of love and compassion, but also from professionalism and integrity.
Mhm.
Say what you mean what you say. And I love that.
Yeah, and just selfishly, I just want more, yeah, you getting in front of more people is absolutely what needs to happen. Cause again, I think that you can make a really big impact. And when I think of, again, I just because I'm in just different worlds a lot, just like you, it's just at the end of the day, I'm always going back to the students. I'm always thinking about what I can give to them. And through what we do with this, it's a broader scale. Can we do for all beauty school students and we do there, but I'm like, I want you in front of them. Like, I want you to be a role model for them, and I want them to know you, and like, you're exactly who I would pick to say follow her, like listen to her. And and that's just, you don't like always, like, there's just something when you meet somebody like that, I
Mhm,
think, that you're
mhm.
like, oh yeah, they would be great. Or you meet sometimes people sometimes and you're just like, oh okay, like, you
Right.
all right, like it's like different, like, oh okay, cool, like you think, all right, but and that's okay. Like, that's
Yeah,
their
yeah,
path. But when you see
right.
somebody that, really, really could make a difference and really help impact the industry in a positive way, like that really is who you are. And I'm just so excited and so thankful. So thank you so much for being here today with us. I'm so thankful that you shared your story in such an open and honest way. Where can we follow you? Let's get those numbers up. Where can we follow you?
So you can find me on socials at Jalia DP. It's spelled JALIADP. Or you can go to my website, jaliapettis.com. Or you can go to my business website, which is the number three, JAYproductions.com. So yeah, just Google me, boo. Something will come up. Something will come up. Thankfully, nothing crazy though. Okay. Just
I was literally like, that's the bravest thing anyone has ever said on this show. Like, she actually must be really good. Because who else is like, no,
I
Google
found
me.
one thing the other day, like no lie, I found one thing the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, this is saying that I haven't paid one of my bills. What do you mean? So if
That's
that's how we got out there,
awesome.
that's fine. I took care of it.
I
They just, whatever. It's
I love that. Well, thank you so much. And definitely follow Jalia for everything that's going on. I can't wait to see what you're doing. And thank you for being here with us today.
thank you. I appreciate it.